Morning everybody, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This morning I'm going to be reacting to the Pornstars of World War II pin-ups. Yes, on the Homefront playlist on the World War II YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out my previous reactions to the other videos on the Homefront playlist, remember the playlist card is going to be at the top here. Just click on it and you'll be able to access them. If you want to check out the original video as well as World War II YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Okay, let's start. The Pornstars of World War II pin-ups. Alright. I don't know what pin-ups means, but okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Some GIs are locked in a firefight with a section of Japanese soldiers somewhere in the South Pacific. One American soldier is hit. His comrades hear him say, "Goodbye, darling," as he falls to the ground. After they've pushed the enemy back, they rush to where the boy fell, only to find him dead. But they notice something in his hands. Upon prying his fingers open, they discover he was clutching a picture of Hollywood star Betty Grable as he lay dying. In his final moments, a soldier wanted to think of a celebrity he had likely never met. Why? Let's find out. This is On the Homefront, a series of World War II in real time. I'm Anna Deinhardt. That was a true story, or at least it was reported as true by Modern Screen magazine in October 1943.
Oh, reported. Reported to be factual by a magazine. Okay.
And it's not difficult to believe. Women are one of the biggest motivators for men to fight and maybe die for their country. This is obvious as soon as America joins the war. Jean Ruth started broadcasting her own radio show only a couple of months before Pearl Harbor. By January 1942, Time magazine had this to say about it. After many pretty girls to whom the army looks for the joys of life, few have merited as much mass devotion as a cheerful, blue-eyed little number known as Beverly on Denver station KFEL. She is directly responsible for the fact that 28,000 army men at Fort Logan and 3 other army posts get up willingly before sunrise. Jean, or Beverly, moved to Los Angeles later in the year to record with CBS. By now, in late 1943, her voice is being sent out across the world by Armed Forces Radio. Her warmth no doubt gives servicemen the emotional gratification they are so missing. But there are other women, or rather depictions of them, which provide men with another kind of gratification.
Wow. Yeah? Well, look, I've also watched porn. I've watched a lot of porn in my life. And it is instant gratification, yes. I don't know. In terms of this situation, in terms of war and, men needing that emotional biological release, I understand. Men have to release themselves, especially when they need to masturbate. It happens. They gotta do it, or they'll find a sexual partner amongst their fighting brothers. Yeah, it happens. And there'll be those who also look to magazines for that inspiration to release themselves of the sexual energy that they have. It happens.
The sexual kind. And for this, Esquire magazine is at their service. Founded in 1933, it has quickly grown from a men's fashion magazine into an all-round cultural tastemaker. But it is also known for its girly cartoons featuring glamorous women drawn in suggestive poses and even various stages of undress.
Wow, that's a drawing? It's quite Impressive. It kind of looks like a photo was taken, but yeah, wow, it is a drawing. You can see with the leg that, yeah, this is definitely a drawing, but the rest of the upper body, it looks like it was a photo taken. Not bad.
Since 1940, the featured lady has usually been one of the Varga girls. These are drawn by a Peruvian-born Alberto Vargas. Esquire probably decided to drop the S in his credits to distance himself from Getúlio Vargas, Brazil's fascist-leaning president. Varga girls are drawn to be unashamedly exhibitionist, impossibly proportioned, and as faultless as a classic marble statue.
It kind of reminds me of, the animations we see nowadays, from Japan. How they are depicting some women in some animations, how their proportions are just beyond, beyond anything I've ever seen before, really. I don't know about the rest of you guys or ladies out there, but for me, some of the Japanese animes that I've seen, the way they depict the ladies, I've never seen anything like that in the real world. It is extremely exaggerated, in some parts. Yeah.
And even before the war, they were promoting patriotic ideals. After America entered the conflict, nearly every gatefold and special calendar addresses the conflict in some way. Though marketed towards men, Esquire also has a large female readership, and some of the cartoons work as both eye candy and calls to service. The mix makes them even more popular among servicemen who love decorating the barracks and foxholes with the sultry women. The demand from the military is so great that Esquire has started shipping to bases all across the world, free of charge and with no advertisement. 9 million copies of the magazines will be issued in this way.
And it's not free. People have to pay. Oh, wow. Esquire was really getting in money with this business. They were really getting in the money.
GIs write to Esquire telling of all the different places in the world a Varga girl is hanging and how they are often next to pictures of Mom, Pop, and FDR. One posted photo shows Marines huddled around an Esquire centerfold as their landing craft approaches the burning island of Tarawa.
Okay, alright. Look. Yes, you can... For example, right? I don't watch porn in the supermarket. I don't watch porn, in a public space. These are the type of things that you should be doing in your own private space, in your bedroom. You don't go out in public. Even like it's weird to find a soldier, showing his fellow soldiers, these types of imagery when they're supposed to be going out there to fight. I don't know. I just find that a bit weird. Like there's no control. There's no, self-control. That there should be a time and place for these certain types of things. You don't just do it willy-nilly because you feel like it, or you want to show off to your friends that you have the latest issue of the cartoon lady on the Esquire magazine. There's a time and place for these types of things. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys have it differently. Maybe I'm having it wrong. I don't know. But I just feel like there's a time and place for these types of things. You don't just do it at the battlefield. Like...
Varga girls and other pin-ups also accompany pilots up into the skies. Servicemen paint them onto plane noses and christen them with names such as Dynamite, Eager Beaver, and Booby Trap. The power of Varga girls in boosting morale leads one comedian to joke: "Our American troops are ready to fight at the drop of an Esquire." Of course, not everyone is happy with the popularity of Varga girls. Postmaster General Frank C. Walker has been especially especially annoyed that his post office is used to circulate such material. In October 1943, he revoked Esquire's second-class mailing privileges because of the obscene, lewd, and lascivious character. Mailing at first-class rates would cost the magazine hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So they have challenged the decision to a post office. They brought 38 nationally known educators, scientists, and activists before the Post Office Hearing Board to prove its content is not indecent. The board has actually sided with Esquire, but Postmaster Walker is going ahead.
I'm sure Esquire paid a lot of money to a lot of politicians, rubbing hands here, shaking hands there, rubbing backs, having a little tea party here or there for them to secure this, ability for them to send their material through the post office again. Yeah.
With the revocation anyway. The case will bounce around the courts for the rest of the war. Along the way, Esquire will pick up the support of the ACLU and most major national newspapers. And the men bitterly defend their right to pin-ups as well. As one group of GIs will write to Yank magazine in 1944.
Oh, okay, so that's what it's called. That cartoon poster, it's a pin-up. Okay.
Maybe if some of those panty waists had to be stuck out someplace where there are no white women and few native women for a year and a half, as we were, they would appreciate even a picture of our gals back home. The American military is also quite happy for its servicemen to fulfill their urges. Doing so not only maintains their virility, but is also a handy way of countering venereal diseases and homosexuality spreading through the ranks.
Guys, no, I'm sorry. Just because you have Esquire pinups doesn't mean that you're not going to be a homosexual. Just because you masturbate to a image of a cartoon lady doesn't mean you're not a homosexual. If you are sexually attracted to men, you are sexually attracted to men. If you are bisexual, you are bisexual. There's no amount of Esquire women cartoon posters that is going to change that about you. So I don't know how did the government of the day, come to the thought process of, okay, for us to prevent our soldiers from having, homosexuality activity, homosexual activity in the barracks or in wherever they are during World War II. We need to keep on distributing the Esquire pin-up cartoons to them so that it can prevent them from being homosexual. That is not logical. That is not logical. I understand in terms of men needing to relieve themselves, I understand the sexual urges that men will have, and definitely masturbating is a huge help. It's a huge help. If you have the time and the space and the privacy for it to be conducive for you to do it, I completely understand. I completely understand. It is perfectly natural for men and women. But because we're focusing on the men of fighting during World War II in this particular situation, it is perfectly understandable. But to be told that somehow it's going to prevent people from, commencing in homosexuality, or should I say homosexual activities. No, no. If there's a time and there's a place and it's conducive environment for it to occur, it will happen, whether you like it or not. It will happen. Yeah.
A manual published by the National Research Council titled Psychology for the Fighting Man explains further. Though a more active and willed expression of sex, it is still a substitute when a man relieves his sexual tension by himself. To do this is not abnormal or physically harmful if it is only resorted to as a temporary outlet, and if the man does not feel guilty or worried about it. A song from servicemen in the Pacific puts the matter more directly. Masturbation is the fashion for unrequited passion. If girls can do it, why can't we? But out here in the Pacific, purely as a soporific, nothing equals simple self-abuse. That's a weird rhyme. It didn't rhyme at all. Okay. Weird song. Still, there is a pin-up star more popular than even the most naked burger girl. It is, of course, the one and only Betty Grable. She has performed professionally since she was just 13. At 26, she is now one of Hollywood's biggest stars and has a carefully cultivated image of all-American wholesomeness. She is the girl next door all the boys want to marry. Betty is already doing her part for the war effort. The United Services Organization is a government-backed civilian association whose main task is boosting servicemen morale. Grable performs regularly at the USO's Hollywood Canteen, a club set up for men about to head off to war. She also goes on nationwide tours to perform in the famous USO camp shows. She is often joined by other leading beauties such as Rita Hayworth and Irene Manning. Like most stars, their images become some of the pin-ups accompanying men to war. Some come from men.
You know, I don't know. I was kind of okay with the cartoons. But when it becomes, a real person, I don't know. I'm not sure about that part, And even this tour of these ladies performing for all of these men, I don't know how do people get some sort of excitement or satisfaction to say that this is what we're fighting for. This is why we are fighting against the Germans. I thought that everybody was clear and understanding on why they're fighting in World War II. It's not necessarily about the women. I don't get it. I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. If there was a country that was focusing on conquering its neighboring countries and committing such heinous acts against humanity or against human beings, especially those who believe in a certain religion or a certain culture, I would say that that's a problem, that's an issue that needs to be attended to. If my nation is under threat, I would fight for it, but I'm not necessarily fighting for it because I like this particular woman or I like this particular man, who's a superstar or a singer or an actor or something like that. I'm not fighting for them. I'm fighting for the country. I'm fighting for the people who are suffering in those regions that are being assaulted by this, belligerent country that is committing heinous acts against humanity. That's what I'm fighting for. Not for a pin-up, not for, singers and actresses and actors. Who are they? Who are they? Who are they? But, times have changed. Yeah.
Magazines or publicity shoots, but others are specifically shaped for morale-boosting purposes and even commissioned by the US government.
Guys, how is that a morale boost? I don't understand how that is a morale boost. I understand about relieving yourself, your sexual tensions. Yes, I understand that. But for it to be a morale boost, I don't understand. How does it become a morale boost?
But it's the pinup starring Betty Grable the boys love the most. Shot this year, it comes from a publicity shoot from her latest film Sweet Rosie O'Grady. Dressed in a white bathing suit and looking coyly over her shoulder, Betty and her legs are on full display. It may not be as explicit as the Varga girls or even the pinups from other stars like Rita Hayworth, but it is an instant success. 20th Century Fox will claim to have sent 5 million copies of it out to servicemen by the war's end. Its relative modesty is actually the key to its success. Life magazine has published an article, Betty Grable's Legs, which analyzes the matter. They are the great average American legs. Straight, perfectly rounded and shaped, but withal judged by the same standards as millions of others.
This is so weird. This is so weird. This form of objectifying a woman's body on how it should be, and this is the perfect way it should be. You know, if other women cannot emulate this, then they are not the perfect American woman. You know, this form of objectifying women bodies and how it should be presented, and you know, the men have some sort of morale boost because they've seen this perfect American woman. Like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Betty is the beautiful girl who could be your sweetheart back at home. It's more than just sex, as one veteran will later tell her. There we were, out in those damn dirty trenches, machine guns firing, bombs dropping all around us. We would be exhausted, frightened, confused, and sometimes hopeless about our situation, when suddenly someone would pull your picture out of his wallet. Or we'd see a decal of you on a plane, and then we'd know what we were fighting for.
Seriously? This is what you're fighting for? Hey. Okay. I still don't get it. Like, if I was in this situation and you know, the enemy was bombing our position, I saw some of my friends die on the battlefield, I'm not going to get excited after I see an image of a woman, you know, who's modeling, or a man who's modeling. I'm not going to get excited and say, this is what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for them. No, man. That doesn't give me any form of morale boost. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. I cannot compute this notion that seeing, you know, women dressed in a particular way or their features are in a particular way, it would give you a morale boost in the battlefield to further kill your enemies. That you are fighting because of this woman. You're not fighting because the tyranny of a particular country. You're not fighting for freedom. You're not fighting for democracy. You're not fighting against those who hurt other human beings. No, you're fighting for a woman on a picture.
She represents the American way of life, waiting for the men once they have fought to defend it. She is the symbol of the American girlfriend or wife. She will even symbolize motherhood when she gives birth to her first daughter in 1944. This symbolism is even more potent for the men fighting far away from what they consider civilization. Many soldiers don't consider native women worth their attention. We've already seen this in that soldier's letter scolding the panty waist for criticizing pinups. When servicemen see white female nurses or entertainers in the South Pacific, they will often claim they are the first women they have seen in months and years.
Ooh. This is definitely objectifying, you know, women. This is definitely objectifying women, especially women who are of a particular race, and who are having particular features in the correct proportions for a man, and or should I say an American man, and having a culture that emulates from their country of origin. And really, this is not good. This is not good. Objectifying women this way is not good. They are not your cattle. They are not things that you own. Okay? They're not people that you can see as a goal or as an objective for all of your fighting that you're doing in World War II. I don't understand how is it that they came up with this notion in their minds. Oof.
Time magazine will note how Grable's popularity increases in direct ratio to soldiers' remoteness from civilization. On the topic of race, like many things in America, pin-ups are segregated by skin color. Lena Horne is the Betty Grable for black soldiers. But pin-ups don't just feature the stars of the age. Real wives and girlfriends sometimes make their own. Psychology for the fighting men encourages the practice, and so does Betty herself. Edwards are constantly remind women to maintain their beauty for their military men. One 1943 Edward for soap has the headline, "I pledge myself to guard every bit of beauty that he cherishes in me."
Like, women can't be themselves. They have to be told that this is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to dress. This is how you're supposed to present yourself. This is how you're supposed to be as a woman. You must be that object that men desire. That this is what they're fighting for this perceived, notion of this is how a woman should be.
A 1944 face powder Edward will command women to be his pin-up girl. Thousands of women answer this command, sending pictures of themselves to their men overseas. Some single girls even send their photographs to servicemen they have never met. They are often more modest than professional pin-ups, but they still follow the conventions of the genre. It further shows how pin-ups are not just a sexual outlet for men, but a symbol of why they are fighting and who they are fighting for. As some GIs in New Guinea will put it to a reporter, we are not only fighting for the 4 freedoms, we are fighting also for the priceless privilege of making love to American women.
The priceless privilege of making love to American women. Okay. Yeah.
That is the power of the pinup. Of course, this privilege rarely considers the thoughts and feelings of the women themselves. In fact, those GIs may as well have said it was their right to have sex with American women.
Exactly.
Because that is the dynamic that pinups partly reveal. Women as objects for men to protect and to project their fantasies onto. The mix of that with the extreme violence of war can make pinups seem quite disturbing.
Like I said before, with the cartoons, I kind of understood, and I understood, in terms of men's sexual urges or needs, right? I understood that. But then now it's taking a different turn. It's going deeper into now, women are modeling themselves, revealing themselves here or there, making these types of pinups that these men are clamoring over, and it's just become this notion that, this is what we are fighting for. We're fighting for these women. We're fighting for the privilege to have, relations with these women. That they are the only civilized people on the planet. It's warped in this racial undertone, with this patriarchal undertone, with this misogynist undertone. It just went south very fast. Very, very fast. Yeah. Like, honestly, like I've said before, I just don't see how this is going to give me the morale boost on the battlefield. I just don't understand this notion of seeing, hot men or hot women images, and then all of a sudden I have the morale boost to go and fight against the enemy because I'm fighting for, possible sexual relations with either men or women back at home. Sorry, guys.
Especially as men on both sides of this conflict often claim their supposed rights forcefully. But like so many items of pop culture, there is a lot you can say about the pinup girl. Because while she might represent an objectification of women, she will also play some part in providing women with a language to understand their sexuality and their control over it. It is a different history to this episode, but it will come in handy once the sexual revolution arrives. Maybe it's a history I'll tell you about one day. Women play a pretty big role in the American war effort. To learn more about this, you can watch my previous video on Rosie the Riveter. Click on the link popping up right now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. To join the Time Ghost Army, leave a comment below, all that good stuff. Thank you for listening.
Alright, guys, that is it with the Pornstars of World War II pin-ups on the Homefront playlist on the World War II YouTube channel. Yeah, the pin-ups, the Pornstars of World War II. Like I said before, I understood, the reasoning of why these pin-ups have been distributed to the army members or the soldiers of, the United States of America. I'm not sure which other countries also had these Esquire magazines, but, those 9 million copies that were made for all the soldiers on the front line. I understand, because, men have the sexual urges like women, and we do need an outlet, something to help us, get through the urge or the need to relieve ourselves, if I can say that, And it's either, yes, they will find, men or women, they will find a partner, or they will masturbate, or they will have material, pornographic material that would help them to relieve themselves of their sexual urges. Yes. However, now it has transformed into something far more concerning, where these men in the army are now objectifying these women in a particular way. Even the magazines are now telling how women should be dressed, or how women should try to support their men on the front lines by sending them images of themselves, or how a true American woman should be seen, or what is the perfection of an American woman, in terms of the legs, in terms of the upper torso of the body, how they put on their makeup and stuff like that. It's now turned into objectifying women in not only a sexual manner, but in a possessive, patriarchal, misogynistic manner. And many of these women, these performers, these actresses and singers, you know, you don't really get to hear their side of the story. Like, is this something that they want to do? And even the other women who also are sending, or should I say, that are modeling for these particular magazines, is this something that they really want to do? Is this how much they want to reveal of themselves? You know, is this something that they are something that they are comfortable with doing? We're never really told about any of that. We're just seeing the success of these companies that are selling 9 million copies, 5 million copies. You know, the market wants this type of material, but at what cost? Because you're hearing nothing from the women who are, you know, contributing to make this type of content that has been distributed. And how the men also perceive other women, you know, across the battlefronts that they're in. You know, how they do not see them as women, they just see them as barbarians, and the only women who exist are the women from the United States of America. I'm not saying that they should also objectify, you know, women, you know, from these other countries or regions. I'm not saying that they should objectify them in the way they objectifying their pin-ups of their singers and modelers and artists. I'm not saying that they should do that. I'm just saying that, you know, that there is no respect for the human being before them. They consider them to be barbarians. There is no respect for the women before them. You know, they don't consider them as women. They consider them as lesser than. And the only people that they objectify, you know, with lack of respect, but they objectify them in this sexual manner, or in this, you know, perceived notion of the perfect America that they're heading back to after the war. You know, and that's the women from the United States of America. It's a weird notion. Like I said before, I would not be having any sort of morale boost after seeing an image of a, you know, a beautiful woman or a beautiful man. I would not have that morale boost to fight against my enemies. I'm not fighting for these hot people, you know. I'm not fighting for them. I'm fighting for the people who are dying in these terrible situations. I'm fighting for freedom. I'm fighting for democracy. I'm fighting against tyranny. If I have sexual urges, I will find a way to relieve it in a respectful manner. In a respectful manner, you know. In a respectful manner, I will find a way. But for an image to give me that sort of morale boost, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, this video really was interesting. Really, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for this. Not for this. It caught me off guard. Okay, it caught me off guard. The Pornstars of World War II pinups, it caught me off guard. I was not ready. Yeah, guys, that's it. That's it for today with On the Homefront playlist, World War II YouTube channel. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as World War II's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And I'll see you guys next week. Okay?